And we're live. Very happy to be joined by Scott Webb, the Refluencer. Scott, how are you doing today?
Hey, Michael, doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. No, it's an honor for me. So the story here is that I started a conversation with Scott a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I initially thought, it could be just another prospecting conversation, but soon I learned that Scott is pretty advanced. He will probably not be needing my help. And so we just had a lovely chat. And there it turned out that Scott has a lot of very, very interesting thoughts to share. And I thought, hey, we sort of ran out of time on our discovery call. So I was thinking, hey, let's go live and let's take the opportunity to ask you a few questions here. So thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, so nothing like jumping on LinkedIn Live to do a discovery call.
Exactly. So tell me about your problem, sir. How can I help? Yeah.
Yes, I have
Exactly.
many.
Yeah. Don't we all? Don't we all? Cool. Yeah. So Scott, you call yourself the Refluencer. What does that mean?
So it really means nothing. A client of mine actually gave me that moniker because he's like, you're like the Justin Bieber of LinkedIn. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should do more song and dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
but truly, the
Where are the tattoos?
Refluencer.
I don't see the tattoos though.
Hang on.
You have them? Do you have them?
No, no,
Ooh.
no. Temporary. They come in the Cracker Jack box. They only last one shower.
Uh,
But no, truly a refluencer in his mind was somebody that's outspoken, vocal, in front of people, inciting people, through engagement and education and entertainment. A lot of my clients think I'm very entertaining, which I don't necessarily seek to be an entertainer. But because my entire focus is on the re part of your business, which is, re-engaging your existing customers, which is focusing on relationships, focusing on referrals, retention. So he put this idea. He's like, "You're like the refluencer," and I'm like, "Oh." And I went and Googled it, and nobody owns that, so I do now. And
wait,
filing
you
for
you
trademarks
own
and all that.
Refluencer.com?
I do not own refluencer.com, but I have filed for the trademark of
Oh,
Refluencer. So
that's pretty good.
whatever that means. But any rate, the point of it is, it's what I want to do too is bring people together that think that way, right? Think about the relationships they've built with their customers. Think about how they can continue to re-engage, re-energize their base. I mean, we hear that a lot in the political sphere. What are we doing to energize our base? Well, if you have an existing base, an existing client list, followers, people that already know, like, and trust you, everything you need for the growth of your business lies in that circle of people or entities. It doesn't even have to be people. It could be a company that you work with. But so that's the gist. And it's really, at the end of the day, I preach this: the revenue you seek is in the list you keep. So that's the people that you're already working with.
Yeah, and you're very big on email. Like I think since we connected, I received some 10 emails from you. Are you sort of bullish on email still, while most people seem to be a little bit bearish on it, as in that it's a bit of an outdated thing? Is that because we're both Gen X, or why is that?
It's a tactic, it's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are nurturing your email list, so for instance, I have about 5,000 people on my email list. And when you're not selling all the time, so in the last 6 months, my email list is actually, the engagement rate has gone up. So I was in a 72% engagement rate. Now I'm in the 90s. My
Mm-hmm.
open rates are higher. My click-through rates are higher because once you start delivering consistent value and you're not always selling, I think we sign up for something, whether it's, I don't know, an apparel brand. We ordered a hat, a watch. We ordered a diet plan. All of a sudden we get 3 emails a day, right? And it's like upsell, upsell, upsell,
Yeah.
upsell. And at that point, you can't find the unsubscribe button fast enough. And so I just use email to nurture, to get my base to think about new things. I mean, yes, I do use it to sell, but it's generally 3 nurture emails to 1 offer email.
Okay.
And so it works for me. And I just know to build your list, you own that list, right? I mean, I could literally inadvertently say something what I think is funny on LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn's algorithm goes, "That's not funny. You're banned." And I've got 10,000 plus. I have 13,000 connections on LinkedIn. So overnight, I could lose that. What I
Yeah,
can't lose is my
absolutely.
email list.
Yep, exactly. Well, at least it's worthwhile backing it up. I have heard of people who have lost their email list if they have fallen afoul of the powers that be. That especially, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but one of the bigger companies out there who provides emails has locked people out, and they actually lost their email list because for some reason, somehow they broke the community guidelines. So I do recommend that you regularly back up your email list from whichever software you are using. So
Yeah, for sure.
definitely advisable. Okay, good. So I am very much on the not in terms of like that I'm against you, but I'm a little bit on the opposite side of the spectrum in that I have over the last couple of years developed an expertise to turn strangers into clients very, very quickly for high ticket products. I have like my fastest ever was some 30 hours, yeah, just short of 31 hours between meeting ever for the first time and them paying me. So, and you are very much kind of on the very opposite end of the spectrum. So I'm very intrigued. That was one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you. Where would you say people start when they want to sort of energize their base? And I'm going to give you a very specific example in my case. Like I have a few people who have worked with me and who are now regularly engaging on my content. They're like very much publicly supporting me, regularly doing shout outs for me. And I love them. But what would you recommend? Is this a place to start for me? Are there other places to start? What should I do given my history and not having a very large list yet?
Yeah, so great question. And I will, say this: you do not have to have a large list. You don't even have to have a list. If you have relationships, let's say, and I'll use your case for example. Let's just say you want to start this business, right? You're like, hey, I think I'm going to get into, helping people, find new leads and generate clients, but I'm just coming out of a 9-to-5 job and I don't even have a client yet. So ideally, you start with a list, and it's literally a piece of paper, a napkin, a notepad. I have on my website the Apple Orchard framework, which you can download for free. And I noticed you downloaded it yesterday.
Yeah,
But it is your top 58. They say that the average person knows anywhere from 150 to 260 individuals in their circle. So family, friends, neighbors, church mates, people they've worked with, colleagues, people they use in regular day services, the dry cleaner, their dermatologist, their chiropractor, and if you literally go into your phone, I have 1,009 contacts in here. Okay. And very few of them are family and friends. These are a lot of just people that I come in contact with. Here at WeWork, I meet 5 new people a week. Literally a new company, a new entrepreneur, a new business idea, a new business concept every day. So you start by just writing down, and I have a top 8 and a top 50 segmentation. The top 8 are those people that shout out, they support you. And here's how you know: when you text them, they actually text you back. They do not have to be clients. They do not have to be people that buy from you. Personally, in my top 8, I only have 4 clients: 0 family, 0 friends, 0 church mates, and 0 neighbors. Okay. So I like to get people to stop thinking, oh, this sounds like MLM, where they tell you to go out and just, blanket everybody you have a relationship with. I'm telling you, you can do that. And if you are cool doing that, personally, I think what you actually do helps people, you shouldn't be shy about telling anybody about what you do and how you can help. But there's this stigma out there that, selling to family or friends, is bad. But listen, all humans need, validation. All humans need, some type of solution outside of their world. And if what you do actually does that, then by all means, talk to anybody that's a human. Unless you sell to robots, that's a different system. But your specific case, take this top 8 and write down those people that support you, that have said, and here's how you know too, if you ever work with somebody, or it's a friend, a family, a colleague, a client, and they ever say, hey, let me know if I can ever do anything for you, write them down.
Take them up on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can take them up on it. Exactly.
Oh, wait, sorry. Quick interruption here.
Yeah.
I do think that, especially I see this with Americans, you guys are super friendly and open, especially for Europeans. We then take you by your word. I just connected with somebody, complete stranger, and I just said something nice and so on. We connected. There's no further going to be any further interaction. And he then responded with, hey, if there's ever anything I can do for you, then let me know. And I was thinking, we don't know each other. It's like, there's nothing like, would you still use that?
Heck yeah. Listen,
Really?
the single fact that you've made a connection, and trust can be built within a few seconds, by the way. So it's not like this drawn out, 6-month process of value transfer and, can I coach you for free? Do you want to come to a workshop? And I mean, you could literally, you said you built a client from 31 hours from meet to sign on board, right?
Yeah.
So I have a story where I met a guy on LinkedIn. We started talking. 3 weeks later, we do a podcast together. 6 weeks later, we do a workshop for 31,000 of his clients.
Yeah.
So and the total time invested up until the workshop was a few hours.
Yeah.
A few phone calls, some emails. He's on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. He knows I'm not fake. I know he's not fake. Trust is built. So the point is start with a list. Like, write down all the people that would back you on anything. It doesn't even have to be your business. It's like, I mean, this is the thing about building trust and relationships in business. If you do it right, you could sell cupcakes tomorrow and they would buy them. On Monday, you sell a SaaS product and they're like, hey, I'm interested in that. On Friday, like, you could change, literally, you could have multiple services. Let's say you got a kid that's selling, in America, we do Girl Scout cookies every year. Yeah. Let's say you have a kid that's selling Girl Scout cookies and you want her to sell 100 boxes. You use your list to benefit other people, right? Because there's that trust and value exchange already built, that foundation. And when you have an existing client base, even if it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, and I work with realtors all the time. They're like, oh, I can't go back to my existing client. They just bought a house last month. It's not like they're going to buy a new house this month. And that's thinking of it in a very linear sense, where I'm saying the people they know, right? So they have a list of 150 people that need to either buy or sell or move. It's not the transaction with the existing client you're looking to enhance or optimize. It's those people know 150 people. Could they seriously, very quickly send you 3 numbers of people hey, we're out this weekend. We were telling about our great new house that we just bought. And they're like, yeah, we're thinking about moving. Well, if you do it right and you're top of mind, they'll go, oh, because this is what happens. People go, oh, that's nice. Glad to hear you're moving. And they don't think that to refer the realtor that you just worked with, right? Mm-hmm. So what ends up happening is we have to be proactive.
Yes.
We can't leave it. So for instance, you can't leave it up to the 5, 6, or 7 people that really love you to recommend you or refer you every day. You are going to have to do the legwork. You're going to have to put in some of the work that removes the friction of making that referral or recommendation just extremely
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Great. Would you, on that note, recommend to mention the fact that I pay referral fees, right? If anybody brings a new client to me, do you think this kind of introducing the money equation into it damages it or incentivizes it net net?
So in Apple Orchard, I teach you have four succinct areas of people. One is your clients, right? So these are the people that have bought from you, they've experienced your product and service, your solution, they've already built trust, or they have some because they've exchanged money with you, right? So that has that level of trust and foundation built in. The next one is your advocates. These are people that may or may not buy from you. They would recommend you but would never ever buy their service. Maybe it's not a fit, or maybe they're good. They've got, I have plenty of colleagues and friends whose businesses are booming. The last thing they need is referrals or they just have their own system. They don't need me, right? But they recommend me. So that's an advocate. Your third area is an ambassador. That's a person that will absolutely 100% recommend you and refer you as long as they're getting a cut. But those, in my orchard, I have people that send me new leads every single day, and I say, hey, listen, if I close this deal, I want to send you something. They're like, dude, I just want to help.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in
Mm-hmm.
what you do. So here's what you do. You put that out there, and if they're like, oh yes, well, I'll send you over an agreement, for 20% or whatever. That's an ambassador. They're paid. They're getting paid now.
Yeah,
For this relationship. But the majority of my referrers, they're like, I don't need anything. But so listen, what do? So when you close that deal, you send them something.
exactly.
You don't say, hey, listen, I'll give you 20%. Send them, like, if I have a client and he sends me a $5,000 customer and I send him or her $500 in the mail,
Mm.
you don't you
Oh,
don't think,
you would actually send cash.
yeah, I'd send cash because you can spend it in
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
Okay. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
I was just thinking I'm gonna send them like a really expensive bottle of something or like a crazy bouquet of flowers or something like that. But
And
I
that
like
too.
I'm just worried that $500 in the mail would just get lost. It's like it's never gonna arrive. But okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and the thing is, if you don't know your referrer very well and they're, struggling with alcoholism and you send them a
That's
really
true. You
nice
send them a
bottle,
bottle of expensive whiskey. I just signed a death warrant for them. Yeah.
right?
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Maybe not then. Okay. So, but one thing you just said, and I just want to clarify, you said you send it out there. Would you say you send it out there already saying that, hey, I pay 20% whatever of a referral fee? Or would you just say, tell people that you would love to hear from them if they know someone, so don't mention the referral fee in the proactive outreach? Just to clarify, should I or should I not?
I think it's a case by case situation.
Mhm.
Listen, if you have built into your program and your profit a referral system, hey, just let you know, these are the type of people I work with. These are these are my ideal clients that meet this criteria. If you have conversations with somebody and they're saying, I'm struggling with lead generation or finding new clients, or my cash flow sucks, or I can't hire anybody, send them my way and I'll send you
Mhm.
this, right? You can
Mhm.
have that pre-built already.
Mhm.
I'm talking about higher up in the relationship. Most of those people they're not trying to make money off of you.
Yeah.
They want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
And great, if you want to send something after the fact, they're like stoked, right? That surprise factor kicks in. And then the other thing too, I never preach to tell anybody, hey, if you know somebody that needs me, because you're now putting on that person the responsibility of selling you. And that is the worst thing you can do. So never say to anybody, hey, if you know somebody that needs lead generation, have them call me. Because first of all, the first thing they do is they start rolling through their mental Rolodex. And they're like, I don't know anybody. When they actually do, they actually know 5, 10, 15, 20 people within their network or circle of influence that actually could use your service. So what you have to do is you have to pinpoint and specifically say, hey, listen, I noticed that you work with XYZ company. Would you be willing to forward my checklist to them to see if what I do could be of value? And they're like, heck yeah. So, because now they don't have to even explain, they don't even have to try and figure out and explain, well, hey, I know this guy named Scott and he kind of does this thing called Apple. I don't really know, but he sends us new leads. That's all I know. Right. So it puts this level of friction into the referring, the referrer. And so now this is why it's so critical to have a lead magnet, to have some type of checklist, gap assessment tool. I don't care what you call it, a video series. And you can just say, hey, Larry, I noticed you work with XYZ company. We've been able to help you generate, 20 new leads. Would you forward my lead gap assessment tool to XYZ company? And they're like, yeah.
Okay. So again, I'm going to go very specific, maybe put you on the spot here. I only work with solopreneurs and very small B2B. There is not really a way for me to see that people work with each other, right? Like you could see that, for example, on a big company. What would you do in that? What would you recommend?
So first and foremost, if they're on LinkedIn, you can see exactly who they're connected to.
Yeah. Okay.
And you, with a little bit of research, so let's say Alice is one of your clients and you want to help more of Alice's, the people that Alice work with, right? So you could go onto her LinkedIn profile and see who she's connected to. And you could do a little bit of research and say, oh, she's connected first person to this entrepreneur, this solopreneur, this small business. You could go on their website and see, holy cow, they've got this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. And now you reach back out to Alice and you say, hey, Alice, I noticed that one of your first connections on their website, they have no lead capture. They have they've got 3 things wrong with their website. I even Googled and they have no SEO. I could possibly help them. And would you be able to send this, little this 1-page checklist, to Michael, or at least can I send this to them and use your name? I mean, that's the script.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then there's surveys. Here's a big one. Think about, so for instance, one of my clients is in radiology, right? So now I look at all of the people that serve him. So there's this circle of businesses and entrepreneurs and companies that serve his radiology clinics, right? So I can now go and talk and look at all these different spokes that serve him, and if they're serving a radiology clinic, well, think about all the businesses that probably need help that service the radiology clinic, right? So all of a sudden you can go from literally, here's your core client, your entrepreneur, your solopreneur, your small business, and then very quickly ask them who they use for this, and this. And then you can, now that's a little more cold outreach because you're doing the research on their behalf where they didn't really refer you, but you also are activating the referral at that point. And so you can, and then, again, are you niched down, right? I'm not niched down. I work with financial advisors. I work with manufacturers. I work with SaaS companies. I work with, but even within one of those niches are a bunch of people that already have a relationship with your customer or your client, subscriber, patient, however you identify them. And you can literally go and do first level connections and get invited into their world to provide some type of value.
Absolutely, great. And that is, you really can test the waters, especially if you, like myself and Scott, we both are not particularly niche down. We help people in different industries. I think also you can simply test that if it works in one particular sub niche better than in another. Just run a test where you just spend one day in with one client that you had in one industry and just try this approach
Yep.
with that in that world, right? And see
Yep.
how that works, see if people respond well to it, and so on, and do that with others. And then you will see over time which of those, it's like a little A/B test. It's like a multiple A/B test where you see, okay, which area does that work in better. I was honestly, and my story, if I can quickly share this, was after I was fired in 2016, I was thinking, okay, now is the time to leverage all my existing networks. And I'm sure I made many mistakes while doing that. But what really fascinated me in the long run, mid to long run, was if you have a good offer, how relatively easy it is to leverage uh, the fact that you have a good offer, and you just approach strangers and you're able to convert them very, very quickly with just the right offer. Knowing what I know now from you is that you can do this outreach that I did with cold people. You could do this actually with your network, but way more systematized, way more organized and structured. I'm pretty sure if I had done that earlier, I would have been more successful with my network, right? Because it was after a while I said, well, this doesn't work. I told everybody what I do and nothing has happened. So
Yeah.
screw the network. I'm going to go out there by myself and get clients from strangers, right? So
right. And I'm not opposed to any form of, and I don't even like to use the word marketing. I like to just call it communication, right? I'm not opposed to cold outreach. I'm not opposed to networking, paid ads, any of that. I just know that the fastest way to grow your business is through the people that already have spent money with you.
absolutely.
And case in point, we had a client that came to us. They had $68,000 in sales in one channel, and I said, and then this is how I qualify people to work with us. I said, so let me ask you, how long have you been in business? In this case, 11 years. How many people came to your website last month? I have no idea. When's the last time you sent an email out? Well, they get a statement every month, so once a month, okay. And what is the LTV of your top 20% of your client base? And they're like, what's LTV? I said, lifetime value. What's that client worth to you over the next 12 months, 36 months, 60 months? They have no idea. And they do millions of dollars in sales, and they couldn't answer those three very basic fundamental questions. And then I just do a follow-up. How many clients do you serve? And they said like 4,000, but they actually had 8,000. They'd actually serviced 8,000 clients. And so the point is within 9 months, we were able to grow revenue from 68,000 to over 600,000 in 9 months without doing one paid ad, without doing any cold outreach. We just went back and re-energized their existing customer base, built a referral system, and just focused on retention and spreading the word, word of mouth within that, that base of people that have already spent money. That's just how, and I'm not saying that that's typical for everybody, but when you recommit, there's another reword. When you recommit to your customers and the people that have already spent money with you, and you're not just looking at them as a transaction or a spread or a number on a P&L statement, and you actually look at them as humans and the people they're connected to, and you're looking to serve and provide more value than just the core product that you sell, they are going to, and it's not automatic. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm now getting all this love from the company I bought from a year ago. You still have to engage and provide the runway to those people that they can refer.
Absolutely.
You still have to provide that path to them.
Especially as far as providing some form of value to them. I see this regularly. I had a setter, somebody who was reaching out on my behalf to potential clients. And I asked him to go through my past list. So people who I'd connected many, sometimes even months, sometimes like 1.5 years before, and try to reactivate them. And that was very unsuccessful. This whole project was very unsuccessful as far as the old leads was concerned, because when you've had an interaction and that's so long ago, you really do need to ease your way in and effectively just, sounds not nice, but I cannot think of a better term, butter them up a little bit.
Love it. No.
Right. And by providing some value, and just, even if that's like a friendly question of, hey, I looked at your profile, I love that comment that you did the other day, was great. And just asking them something about that, and how are you doing? How are you coping with whatever, the pandemic or something like this? But do make sure that you have looked at their profile, see what they're up to, comment on a recent job change or something like that, build a
Right.
little bit of human connection before you start re-energizing the base. You cannot do this from a completely cold start. Something that has gone cold.
Right. Yeah, I have clients that have been in business for decades, and they've acquired 5,000 emails. They bought an email CD 15 years ago when they first got into business, and then when we start working with them, they want to dump all that into a CRM and start pounding them
yeah
for sign up, right? And what I always say is, this is why you're top 58. You start there. You don't start by just trying to do outreach and re-engage thousands of people with generic emails. You segment. I mean, no sense in sending an email talking about a SaaS success story to a bunch of financial advisors. They don't care.
Of course.
Right? So it's so irrelevant.
Absolutely.
And no sense sending a manufacturer an email about some type of restaurant or hospitality company that's success story, right? So understand that your list needs to be segmented, especially if you do have different value offers. I mean, even this, like, you buy a brand new phone and you own the phone, but every day Verizon or your phone company sends you an email, hey, you should buy the new iPhone. I'm like, I already did, but they pound your inbox because they create one email and they send it out to everybody. But the email, what they should be sending is, hey, thanks for buying your iPhone. If you have 5 minutes, we'll show you a really cool feature to unlock a hidden button. That's the email I should be getting.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
I've had this phone for a year, and every day Verizon sends me an email. Hey, you should buy the new iPhone.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. You would have thought, like 10 years ago, you would have thought that companies would have figured that out, that like personalization in your marketing is in 10 years is going to be really good by then. Still hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and here's what it is. It's laziness.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%.
It's laziness.
Exactly. So speaking of that, actually, of laziness, when I saw on your website your worksheets and the instruction that you give to people, which is, by the way, a phenomenal lead magnet. So everybody should go to, I put the link in the comments, appleorchard.io. There's no dash, right? Appleorchard.io.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, good. And so there's you get a pop-up, and just put your name and email in there, because the framework that you received, Scott hinted at it now, but it's a very, very detailed framework where you simply put in those 8 top people in your network, the next 50, and so on, and it gives you like a step-by-step, and it's a beautiful analogy with the apple orchard. So these are your trees, these are your apples, and so on. It's really worth looking at, also beautifully designed. So do take a look at that. When I saw it, though, I was thinking, wow, that's a lot of work. So speaking of laziness, it's this stuff is very, very manual work, right? With strangers, you can always argue, yeah, you could do a little bit of automation, but here you really cannot. Would you agree, or is there some? Am I overseeing something?
No. Listen, running a business is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have something to offer and you want to make money from somebody else, it is a lot of work. Now you can, and I tell people there's 2 ways to grow your business. You can do it yourself, or you can hire somebody to just do it for you, right? And so it's like I liken it to losing weight. How hard is it to get to the gym consistently and stay on a diet for most people? I
Super
mean,
hard.
it's super hard, right? When really the simplicity is don't buy that junk food, stop going through the drive-through, go to the gym at least 3 times a week, and go walk for a mile every day. Get 8 hours of sleep and drink 100 ounces of water. I mean, and just 5 things can totally transform your life. But people go, "Oh my God, this is so hard," and so they try it, but they don't stick to it, right? Because they don't see
Yeah.
the immediacy. They
Hmm.
don't, what everybody wants is they want to fill the top 8 out, and by the time they get to the eighth one, they want their inbox full
Yeah.
with requests to
Exactly.
buy or
Exactly.
to work with them, right?
Yeah.
And I just say, listen, do 8 sit-ups, and
Hmm.
then go ahead and lift your shirt and post that
Yeah.
on Instagram. Tell me how it's working out for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So running a business and building your referral network and re-engaging your customer base is hard work. And I have not found a tool, a hack, a tactic, a AI driven CRM that just does all that for you.
Mm. Yeah, and you at some point you will be able to replace the work with money, because once you have done all of this, there will be so many opportunities to automate some small aspects of that. Like, you will know that this tiny little subsegment really responds well to this, so you will have a short 3 email sequence already written up for them, right? You will not have to
Right.
do this manually anymore. You will have some form of automation in those little sub niches. You will know what kind of gift really works with that kind of sub niche, and so on. So there will be some leverage and automation. And once you have that stuff dialed in, and this, I really think this is a great way of seeing it as, okay, let's work on chunks here. First, let's get you 1 or 2 clients. When you're just starting out, you don't have anyone, use my method, and some of it is free. Just go on my website. You can get a great couple of great resources there, and you just start friendly conversations with people and get yourself the first few clients. It's going to work. Once you have that dialed in, once you know how to do that on command, you can get yourself clients. Then start re-engaging your past clients and use Scott's framework for that. It's excellent. I have not seen a better sort of re-engaging referral framework and reigniting of relationships. See how many re's I fit in there?
Yeah, I love it.
So there you go. Then use that. Once you have that dialed in, you will be able to either give that to someone who you hire for it, because by now you can afford it, and you will have some automation in place. And then go ahead and run ads and do webinars and so on. And this is then
Sure.
how you build this perfect client acquisition structure that works. But yeah, initially in the first couple of years, it is going to be a lot of work. So it
Yeah.
was a bit of a setup question, because I do get that quite often. Oh my God, starting these conversations, so much work. Yes, it is a lot of work.
So guess what? We have choices, right? We wake up every day and we have choices. If you don't like the hard work, doing the hard work, there are plenty of companies out there that probably hire you. So you can just show up and be the 9 to 5 or whatever. If you
Yeah,
want to be an entrepreneur, you want to run a business, you want to create a life for yourself, beyond, making somebody else rich, you are going to have to do the work. I've been doing this a long time. I work smarter with systems today than I ever have, but it's still hard work.
absolutely.
And even when you think you've got it dialed in and you're on cruise control, like, hey, I don't have to send an email out this week. You lose that connectivity.
Absolutely. And
So
also, one thing, just to gain some perspective, I would invite everyone who thinks, oh my God, this is so much work. I invite you to read the book by George Orwell, The Road to Wigan Pier, where you learn how coal miners in the 1930s, I think it was, or 1920s, 1930s, how they worked in the north of England. They had to like crawl for 2 miles before they even got to their working place, where they were digging for coal underground. So whenever you feel like saying, oh, so much work, get some perspective.
I
You are
love it.
sitting in a warm room sending emails, sending messages and jumping on Zoom, so stop complaining.
Yeah.
That's the message.
But I will tell you, when you systematize it, it becomes check boxes and checklists versus
Yeah.
waking up and going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do today to try and drive a referral, or to, ask somebody to recommend me, or to go out and re-engage my, my existing customer base. When you just wake up and you don't have a plan, it is exhausting and it is debilitating. That's why anybody that's going to lose weight, they want a six pack, or they just want to feel better about themselves. They don't want their pants, so tight. If you don't have that checklist to wake up to and go, okay, I need to drink this much water, I need to eat this for breakfast, this is my lunch, this is my dinner, and I'm going to measure that, right? I'm going to put it into an app, or I'm going to record, and I'm like, oh, well, hey, wow, that was surprising. I ate 1,800 calories today. I didn't even realize that was 1,800 calories.
Yeah.
Without that, you're literally a ship without a sail.
Absolutely.
It's whatever the tide brings you.
Absolutely.
And that's where people start they start resorting to, oh, I need to go to this network meeting and pass out 100 business cards, or I I haven't sent an email out in 4 months. I'm going to hit my email list up real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's like, I'm going to go to the gym and work out 8 hours today. And they don't have any results,
exactly.
right?
Absolutely. So how did you get to be the Refluencer? What's your story? And especially, please tell us, what was the story of you making 400,000 in 18 months selling outdoor games?
So I've been in lead gen, oh gosh, since the 1900s. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And
on that note, we got a fun comment here. You look so young.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely, for a 120-year-old guy, you look pretty good.
Yeah, I use coconut oil skincare routine. So, so about 3 years ago, I got into making cornhole games on a whim, and it turned into a business. And
what's a cornhole game?
So cornhole is in America, it's called bag toss, or there's several different names. Beanbag game. It's a board, rectangle like this. It's got a hole at one end, and you throw a bag like horseshoes at the board, and it goes in the hole.
Oh, okay.
Cornhole.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called cornhole. It's a American thing, probably, for sure. We need to bring it over to Vienna for this year. Anyhow,
sign me up for the franchise.
Yeah, definitely. But the point of it is we started selling games, and every game that we sold would generate a new lead, and somebody else would buy, because it was an exceptional product. But we got to a point where, it was just word of mouth. And then at one point it stopped. Like we just couldn't get a transaction. Nobody was coming to the website. We were not getting any traffic. But I wasn't doing anything to really keep my customers engaged other than sell them the product, right? And so I sent out an email, and I started to send out emails, and I sent out one email of a video and just showing how to throw a proper cornhole bag so that you could dominate your neighbor. And that little value add, okay? So I was thinking the value is in the game. The game's the product. They've paid you money for that. But the value is in everything that you add on top of the game. How do you throw better? How to take care of it? How to, because there's so many different things that you can layer on top of your core service. And it was in that value add that all of a sudden, we got like $30,000 in new orders, because people were like, oh my gosh, you got to see this video. Or they're like, oh, I forgot about you. That's the big one. I forgot about you. So we started creating like this little referral network, Regeneration, system, where we're just keeping our clients re-engaged. And hey, we're going to be at such and such beer, like a beer hall this weekend. Come by and say hi to and the name of our brand was Captain Cornhole. Come by and say hi to Captain Cornhole and throw some bags with us, right? So we were creating like this community, and all off of our existing customers, right? And so with zero ad spend, we grew this thing to 400 grand in sales in 18 months. And, but and then at one of my cornhole things, some guy comes up to me. He's like, dude, I got your email. He's like, who does all your marketing? I need this. And I'm like, well, I do. And they're like, can I hire you? At that point, I really wasn't in the marketing business anymore. But I said, yeah, but can I try something with your company? And he's like, sure. And this was this kind of re-engagement, referral, relationship, community, re-energizing model. It didn't even have a name. And so we tried it, and we 10x the sales over 9 months. And that's when Apple Orchard was born, because
Awesome.
now I gave it a framework, a structure. Okay, these are the things that we did. You know, we went back to our best clients, and then we went to everybody that they know. And then we created like we started connecting all the dots. And that's when it's like, oh, this is like an apple tree. You know, your client is a tree, and then all of the apples in that tree are all the people they know. So instead of trying to go pick apples individually, because that's a lot of work, you just build the relationship with the tree. And at that point, they'll just bring all the apples to you. So
Exactly.
it's like, if I can market to 10 trees versus 1,000 individual people, these 10 trees represent the relationships and those, you know, those stronger, you know, community driven, trust, right? These are and it doesn't even have to be a person, it could be an entity, it could be a business, could be somebody else, right?
In the end, it's always people.
And then it's always people, exactly. But instead of trying to market to 1,000 apples individually, find the person that already has the 1,000 apples within their tree.
Exactly.
And build a relationship with them, and then they will connect you to. Now, will you go harvest 1,000 apples out of their tree? No. But you can go harvest all the low-hanging fruit. You can harvest 10%. You can harvest, you know, whatever that number is. But
yeah, and the thing is, if you have this attitude that you advocate for, you will also have so many apples just falling in your lap, you know, and not on your head like the metaphor says, but truly in your lap, where suddenly, because you have this attitude of being proactively helpful to them, you know, of being a good networker with the right types of people in the right kind of way, you will see these things happening to you more and more.
yeah.
Right? So
two ways to do. So think about this. You want to nurture the tree, water it, prune it, provide any type of help you can provide. When you think of the tree as a transaction, like, oh, I found this guy, he's got a list of 1,000 clients. If I can just get access to that list, well, you're not even thinking about the tree. All you're thinking about is like cutting down the tree so it falls over, so the apples, you can go, you know, pick them up faster. That's short-term transactional thinking, and you can do that, but you can never grow get anything from that tree again. Whereas
Absolutely.
if you focus and concentrate on nurturing the tree, being a connector, you know, maybe that tree never lets you into, you know, to its list, but maybe you can connect that tree to somebody else, and then they see the value, and then they say, oh, you need to talk to my friend, he's got a really big tree and a bunch of apples. So that's the thing. We look at somebody and we think of it selfishly, like, what can I get from that tree or that relationship? When what we really need to be doing is, how can we provide value to them and provide value to that relationship, whether we ever work with them or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was, just as you were talking, I was thinking, okay, but how do I know that it's actually working? Because I cannot expect results from this too soon. But how do I know that it is actually working and that I'm not wasting my breath here? And I thought I found and this was like a really short thought process. So I was completely present while you were talking. So don't worry. But the thing is, the synthesis came to me. It's a combination of what you and I actually do. Because I think the time to start doing this is when you have really found very good product market fit. And I would surmise that you found product market fit when you have a pretty predictable process in your, for example, outbound prospecting. You know that if you approach 100 strangers, you will get probably 10 calls, maybe one client out of that, you know, or depending on how cheap you are with calls, but anywhere from 5 to 10 calls and one client coming out of that. Once you have that, this is then the time when it's really good to start investing in those relationships, reigniting the past ones, because you have something that sells. I
Right.
think what some people might be tempted to do is they maybe sold a couple of projects here and there, very different things, sell effectively, having this smorgasbord of little services that they do, nothing coherent, no single coherent offer. And they start networking like crazy, adding value here, adding value there, and reigniting past relationships. I think it's much better to be systematic about this. Do your homework first, get an offer that works, sell it a couple of times, and then start your process.
Right.
I think that is the synthesis of, because I do always feel like, geez, how do I know that I'm not wasting my time here? What do you think of that?
No, you're exactly right. But it's always a continual refinement. Like, let's say you sell, you're in finance, you sell insurance products and mutual funds and investment advice and stuff like that. You're using other people's products, right? But you still have your own system in which you take that client through from point A to point B.
Yeah.
That's what you sell. You sell the bridge, and you sell the idea that I'm going to take you to point B, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What everyone focuses on is they focus on features and benefits on the point A side, and they don't focus on the bridge and getting that customer to their desired outcome. When people go into lead gen, they're looking for immediate results. And I'm not saying that Apple Orchard, and just so you know, Apple Orchard is not this 6-month, 10-month, 12-month thing. You can literally send a survey out day one and generate 3 new leads day one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can literally send out an email, a soft email. Hey guys, I'm going to do a workshop on Friday. And let's say you have an email list of 100, 200, 300, and you get 10 people to come, even if they're existing clients, you get them to come to the workshop, and then you ask them to invite somebody new. You could have 2, 3, 4 new faces in your very first workshop that you're putting on Friday, and you've never done a workshop ever before. But this is why you need some type of value add, some type of, I call it gap assessment tools, something that allows your clients to be able to send without having to sell you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, hey, here's who we use, and he sent me this. I wanted to share it with you. Like, you can literally send that out, and within a few hours have people signing up on your website. So, and those are called leads, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't have that system in place, then it's basically, it's whatever I can do that day, and it's like, oh, I meant to go on LinkedIn and do, spend a few minutes on LinkedIn. Oh, but the time got away from me. And all of a sudden 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks go by. You haven't sent an email out. You haven't gone on LinkedIn. You haven't reached out to your existing customer. You haven't followed up. Follow up, by the way, is the single biggest profit killer of any business, because they get leads, but they never follow up. We had a client, we generated 500 new leads for them. And I asked, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, we haven't had time to reach out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Which kind of gets us full circle to our original conversation, which was frustration at the fact that some of our coaching clients, which both you and I have, simply don't do the work. So is that, right? Have you in between when we last spoke, did you come up with some magic formula that you can tell me how you can get the clients to do the work?
Yes, it's called cloning. And I'm working with a firm. Yeah, I'm working with a firm in Antarctica, by the way, that's working on a secret cloning project for entrepreneurs. No, it's really it's a mindset. I'm going to tell you that you have to be all in on the process that you've built. And if you're not all in, and you're always second guessing, is this working? Is that working? Or you're second guessing your effectiveness, or even your product, or am I really that good? I see mindset is the number one obstacle with all these, even if we drove 500 new leads to your inbox, they want those leads to filter themselves out to where it's just the 3 clients that are ready to sign right now.
Mm.
And I'm like, but you had somebody actually give you their email address. I mean, just say hi, but everybody wants automation. What they
Mm.
want to do is, they're so busy working in the business. They're never working on the business, and on the business is where you build those relationships and your growth catapults, right?
Mm.
But they want automation. They want everything. They want basically the apple cooked, sliced, perfectly presented in a hot apple pie with a beautiful, fork and a glass of milk. And that's the
Mm.
lead they want to work with.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
When to get to that process is this step, this step, this step, this step, this step, this step, this step. But if you don't have a system and you're not checking the boxes, again, I take it going, marketing and fitness is the same boat. If you don't have a system and you're not willing to create a diet plan, create a workout plan, get outside, get more active, measure what actually goes in your mouth every day, then you're going to look like me.
But it's I think there's one thing that you haven't mentioned in this. I 100% agree with the system and so on, and mindset, of course, is the key foundation of it all. But what I think most people are not willing to do is to really go through the pain. Is that it's simply part of the process, the sacrifice, the fact that no, you will, in the fitness analogy, you will experience the pain of you being, I'm just going through it now. We're on a sugar detox for the last 1 week. And I'm so used after lunch to always have some kind of dessert. I don't have that now. I have fruit at best. And it's painful. And you have to sort of live through the pain. My wife just made a 36-hour fast. It was painful. It's always invariably part of the process that you have to be able to withstand the pain. And that is, I think, the number one obstacle that people face. The mindset is they think that is just about powering through something, but it is in the being able to withstand the boredom, to resist the temptation to go on Facebook and waste time and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That pain that you're experiencing here is an inherent part of the process. And I see that this is the number one thing, and that's why we're training ourselves, Anna and I, to be able to live with the pain. And again, put it in perspective. Okay, some people lived very, very hard lives, compared to us. Our pain is to not eat sugar and to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and to start conversations with strangers who might reject us. That's the pain. It's pretty considerably better than being a coal miner in the 1930s.
Right. Well,
So,
and even so, there's pain reaching out to your existing customers.
absolutely.
People think that, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to ask for referral. They should just know that they need to send people my way.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
just not how it works.
Exactly. Very true. Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for all your great insights. We received a lot of compliments in the comments. Let me just point out this one. Gotta run now. Has been an excellent episode, Michael. Great guest, well-spoken and powerful topic that isn't discussed a lot, I think. Scott earned a follow from me. Awesome. Good stuff. You should definitely go, David, you should definitely go on his website and look at that lead magnet that he has there. And Scott's emails are also very, very good. Barricade says, create a system rather than try to take ad hoc action steps, especially when you're busy. Exactly. That's it. You're absolutely echoing our sentiments here. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michael.
And we're ending it exactly on the hour.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Scott. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.